Hi, everyone. Welcome to Books with Butterscotch. My name is Jordan, and this is Butterscotch, my bunny. Now, Butterscotch, we just had a holiday. Do you remember what it was? Valentine's Day, isn't that right? Well, I have a nice Valentine book for us. It's called Cranberry Valentine. It takes place in New England, near the cranberry bogs, in a town called Cranberry Port. And it's about a funny old sailor named Mr. Whiskers who has never gotten a Valentine before, but suddenly he gets lots of Valentines. And this book was written and illustrated by Wendy and Harry Devlin. Does it look like fun, Butterscotch? Do you want to go sit down and listen? Good. Cranberry Valentine. It was a gray February day in Cranberry Port, and the warm fire was welcome in Grandmother's kitchen. Maggie, Grandmother, and Mr. Whiskers sat around the table amid ribbon, lace, and pink hearts. Maggie was making valentines for her friends. Valentine's Day was only a week away. Mr. Whiskers, Maggie's friend and neighbor, looked wistful. When I was in school, no one ever sent me a Valentine, he said. Never. Later, after Mr. Whiskers had returned to his little gray cottage over the dunes, Maggie spoke to her grandmother. Poor Mr. Whiskers, I feel sorry for him. He's never gotten a Valentine, she said. Grandmother was in a rush. I'm off to my sewing circle, Maggie. Can we talk about it tonight? Two days later, Mr. Whiskers' fortune had changed, but he didn't think it was for the better. It's terrible, Maggie. Look what somebody sent me. He stood at Maggie's door in a fury and waved a frothy lace valentine in the air. It's all about cupids, lovebirds, hearts, and flowers, and it smells like rose perfume. He wrinkled his nose. How sweet, said Maggie. Revolting, said Mr. Whiskers. Who did it? I wonder if it could have been that lady in a green coat. Yesterday she asked me where you lived, said Maggie. Mr. Whiskers didn't worry too much until he received 3 more fragrant valentines at the Cranberry Port post office the very next day. He quickly hid them under his coat. Now Mr. Whiskers was getting nervous. At Seth's General Store, 2 more greetings for Mr. Whiskers appeared mysteriously. Gosh, listen to this one, Mr. Whiskers, cried Seth. Little Cupid shot his dart. Love for you has filled my heart. Be my Valentine. Mr. Whiskers turned red and hid his face behind the mops. Say, all week some lady in a green coat has been here asking questions about you, said Seth. Suffering codfish, somebody's after me, groaned Mr. Whiskers. Could be, said Seth. Why me? Asked Mr. Whiskers. Then he reflected. Why not? I'm the best clam digger in the bog county. I have wonderful whiskers. I sing like a blinking bird. Seth broke into Mr. Whiskers' shining thoughts. Now, Mr. Whiskers, if some lady gives you a present on this Valentine's Day, you should have a box of chocolates to give in return. A gentleman would. Mr. Whiskers looked terrified at the idea. Seth chose a red satin heart-shaped box and handed it to his friend. At the sound of the door opening, the storekeeper looked up. Oh, here comes the lady who has been looking for you, said Seth. Ma'am, I'd like to introduce Mr. Whiskers. The lady in the green coat. Mr. Whiskers froze. He was trapped like a fly in a honey pot. The lady in the green coat flew across the room to him. Aha! Mr. Whiskers, at last. I've been looking for you everywhere. I hear you are the best man in town to fix an old chimney. Fix a chimney? That's all? I mean, it will be a pleasure, ma'am. When the lady in green left, Mr. Whiskers did a little sailor's jig. Saved, he cried. I'll give the candy to Maggie and grandmother, he decided. He whistled all the way to their house on the edge of the bog. At the door, he bowed deeply to Maggie. Candy for my best friends, he announced. Come in, said Maggie. Look, grandmother, Mr. Whiskers has a present for the whole sewing circle. Mr. Whiskers heard a hum of voices in the parlor. Well, I don't know, Mr. Whiskers hesitated. Candy for all of us? Asked grandmother. The ladies in the circle stopped their sewing and looked up. They began to smile. How did you know it was the sewing circle who was sending all those valentines? We've been busy trying to keep you guessing, and all the time you knew it was us, declared grandmother. Mr. Whiskers shuffled his feet. Suddenly, he put it all together. These were the secret admirers who had scared him with valentines. He drew a breath. Knew? Of course I knew, he sputtered. Suffering codfish, you can't fool an old seabird like me. Grandmother seated him near the fire with tea and cake. When the red satin box was passed, he poked 4 chocolates before he found one with a caramel filling. Grandmother pretended not to see. Mr. Whiskers beamed. It wasn't so bad to be the Valentine of a whole sewing circle, he decided. Valentine's Day could be a wonderful day for people to think of one another. Now he could hardly wait for next year. Happy Valentine's Day. The end. I hope everyone enjoyed that story. Stay tuned for more great books with Butterscotch. Bye-bye.